I'm a bad man. I'm a bad person.
They say a picture is worth 1,000 words, but picture perfect isn't always what it seems.
Be a professional soldier and tell me right now what the happened.
In this story, the only words you need to hear are the ones that come straight from the suspect's mouth.
I'm innocent. I didn't mean to hurt anybody.
The penalty is death.
Get your family out of here.
Why me?
I will have my attorney call you.
So unbelievable.
17-year-old Danielle Nemetz has been searching for love in all the wrong guys, as teenage girls often do. From a young age, Danielle's life has been marked by tragedy. She lost her mother and grandmother at a young age and spent her childhood moving from home to home. The most stable part of her life? Cheer. At 5 feet tall and 100 pounds, she's a master of mid-air stunts, making her the perfect flyer. But for as much time as she spends in the air, Danielle longs to land in the arms of someone she can count on to stick around, someone safe. In October 2011, she meets someone she hopes could be that person, 18-year-old Skylar Nemetz. Skylar is older. He's already graduated high school and moved on to the Army. The two begin dating, and after just 3 months, Skylar proposes. Despite nearly everyone in Danielle's life urging her to slow down, she says yes. By March 2012, just 5 months after meeting Skylar, Danielle leaves behind her friends and cheerleading, what had once been her only constant, for her new life as a wife. But it would only last about 2 years before the unthinkable happens. A tragic accident no one saw coming, except maybe her husband.
We gotta figure out exactly where you were standing, where the bullet struck your wife, why it did, all those things. It's not all adding up to the physical evidence right now. The trajectory.
What kind of story like this would add up?
On October 16th, 2014, now 20-year-old Skylar Nemetz returns home to his wife after 3 weeks away at battlefield training. He celebrates his homecoming with a glass of Fireball and Red Bull.
I don't really drink that much at all, like ever. And she got me some cinnamon shit. I literally had like a little, like it was like probably like a glass like that big around, like that tall, like a regular drinking glass. And it was probably like that much, and I poured the rest, filled the rest with Red Bull because I was really tired. But I didn't want to go to sleep because I want to talk to her so much. I remember I drank that, and that's all I drank.
So you've been gone since the 27th, so about 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And you haven't seen each other for 3 weeks, and you sit down and eat some pizza and have a little shot, and then she gets on her computer and does some work.
Yeah.
After being away from each other for 3 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, I told her, yeah, you go ahead and work because when I told her like work an hour or two because she gets paid for that. So I was like, yeah, go ahead and work for an hour or two. I'm gonna watch this movie. I'm gonna eat. I'm gonna hang out with my hound dog. I got a hound dog that I'm absolutely like I'm glued to.
Danielle is working in the office while Skylar watches a movie in the living room. At some point, Danielle leaves the office to go into the bedroom, where she's been keeping the custom AR-15 Skylar gave her for her 19th birthday.
So when you walk in the front door, there's the spare bedroom that has the computer in it, and there's the other bedroom that has just our Kelly King bed in there. She keeps it in the closet on her side, hidden some when I was gone. She put it in there, I don't know, I think it was just sitting there on her side of the closet.
And then, but you went and got it into the computer room?
No, she brought it in the computer room.
You saw her?
Like 30 minutes before, she brought it in the computer room and was like, hey, can you just put this away?
How many firearms do you have total in the house?
They're not all mine.
Well, how many, I'm just curious as to how many you have there. Even if they're not yours, how many firearms are in the apartment?
14.
14?
Skylar grew up around guns and is considered by many to be an enthusiast. He has an array of assault rifles, hunting rifles, handguns, and shotguns. He's received military training in the use of rifles, and he's knowledgeable about how to store them. Skylar says he abides by his mom's rule: always unloaded, always in a safe.
So are they all locked in a safe, or?
Yeah, they're always locked. I have
in
a
a
Cabela safe. They're always locked. I keep the ammo separate.
He usually abides by the rule. But on October 16th, he doesn't.
She took it from the bedroom, put it there's a blue blanket on the spare bedroom where the computer is, on the spare bedroom bed. She put it on that. She said, hey, can you put this away?
Okay.
I didn't think much of it. I just said yeah, and then not till 30 minutes later, I was like, oh, okay, I wish I didn't need it anymore. I'm gonna go put it away.
That's when Skylar walks back into the office, picks up the AR-15, and shoots his wife in the back of the head at close range. The bullet enters the back of her skull, exits through her face, and penetrates the computer screen in front of her.
My wife is dead. My wife. Hey! Hey! Hey!
Skylar doesn't call the police, but he does put Danielle's rifle back in the closet. Meanwhile, a neighbor dials 911 after hearing a gunshot and screaming from inside Skylar's apartment. Police arrive on scene to find Danielle's head slumped over her right shoulder. Her work notes, written just minutes before, lay on the desk in front of her. Blood pools on the floor beneath her. They immediately handcuff Skylar and escort him into the back of a squad car. He doesn't know it yet, but his backseat behavior will become infamous among armchair detectives, behavioral analysts, and homicide investigators.
I'm a bad man. I'm a bad person. I'm so bad. My mom, my dad, I'm so disappointed in me.
According to Skylar, he didn't mean to kill his wife. This was all just a big misunderstanding.
Why me? I love my wife so much. Why me? I love my wife and my life. I love my dogs. I love everything.
Police aren't so sure.
This kind of stuff is supposed to happen to people like me or her.
No, you're right, it's not.
Right after the fire, the gunshot, I was freaking out. I didn't know what the
You have 15 weapons in your house. You're pretty familiar with weapons, right?
Yeah, I've been shooting weapons since shot my first weapon when I was 4 years old. I've been firing weapons my entire life. I've been hunting my entire life.
So you understand how they work.
Yes, I do.
Skylar is no stranger to owning and operating firearms. In fact, his military training makes him a professional. He even taught Danielle how to shoot and enjoyed taking her to the range. That's why he bought her the AR-15 for her birthday. He even customized it with her favorite color, blue. The rifle was supposed to be for fun and for protection.
Because recently in our apartment complex, I just feel like it's really ghetto. And I'm not a racist person, I'm just saying that it's kind of ghetto, and I don't want anything to happen to my wife. And I'm not worried about her doing things with me, I'm worried about other people doing things to her, you know what I'm saying? I was just worried about her. I think that was my main thing, and I think that's why I missed her a lot. I was just so worried about her, like, I was just worried.
The idea that Skylar, a gun fanatic with 2 years of Army training and experience, would have made a mistake firing such a powerful weapon within feet of his wife is hard for investigators to wrap their heads around.
But some things, I know you're upset. Yeah, I've been doing this job longer than you've been alive, so I mean, I get that, right? But you've changed your story twice since we've been sitting right here, and I just want to make sure.
I'm not lying about anything.
I'm not saying, Skylar, you are. It could be the fact that you're upset. But one thing you got to do is before you start talking is listen a little bit, okay?
Were you directly behind her? Or
I was directly behind her, and it was just. I was directly behind her. I remember I came up in a room. I was like, "Oh, you're so cute," and I grabbed the rifle and I was about to clear it, and it goes off, and I didn't even know what to think. I mean, I've never had a negligent discharge ever on ranges. Never, like, and I pretty much lost her after. I was spinning. I took the rifle, and the rifle was still in my hands, and And I looked at the rifle and I was like, what the f? And I looked at it and there was no magazine in it. And I was like, oh, obviously there's a round in the chamber. I mean, that's an obvious thought. Like, so I go into the bedroom. I go into the other bedroom because I see what just happened. And I can't. I take the rifle and I throw it into the closet, into our bedroom closet.
Based on blood evidence throughout the home, it appears Skylar went downstairs into the kitchen after the shooting. Blood on the walls in the dining room indicates that Skylar might have peered out the back door or even walked outside. What he didn't do is call for help.
I didn't know what to do. Like,
Did you call 911 right away?
No, right when it happened, literally right after it happened, like there was smoke in the air, and my neighbor, I think he's in the military also. He knocked on the door immediately. He must have sat there for maybe a couple seconds because I was just so like I didn't know what the just happened. He said I think he said I heard a gunshot and like, are you okay? What's going on? And I told him no, it's not okay. I said no, it's not okay. I think my wife. I said my wife's hurt, and he said, is she okay? And I said no, I think she's gone. I think she's gone, because when I saw her, her body was. She wasn't moving, and she wasn't moving. And I called her name like at least 20 times, and she did not move. And I went and grabbed her, and I tried to hug her.
But that can't be true. If Skylar tried to hug Danielle or grab her in any way, he surely would have more blood on him. The amount of blood on the floor and the arm of the chair Danielle was sitting in confirms that. There is a small amount of what appears to be blood spatter on his shirt. His face, arms, and hands, parts of his body that would have likely come in contact with blood had he hugged Danielle, were clean.
I tried to hug her and I was saying her name and nothing happened. I remember I grabbed her and I put her face in mine and I said, Danielle, 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 Danielle. And I don't know what, I wouldn't cry. I remember I just thought to myself, I'm such a bad person. I'm such a bad person. And I'm not even crying. And I was just saying to myself, I'm evil. I'm evil.
Skylar's focus on his own reaction, rather than to Danielle's death, strikes investigators as strange. For someone who's repeated over and over that he loves his wife, his behavior is about as suspicious as the physical evidence. And his strange behavior began before he ever arrived at the station.
Why me? I love my wife so much. Why me? I love my wife and my life. I love my dogs. I love everything. I love my wife so much. She's everything. Hey! Hey! Oh my God. Hey! I need to know about my wife. I need to know about my wife.
Okay, we'll fill you in the more we know, okay?
But suspicious behavior alone isn't enough to determine the shooting wasn't accidental like Skylar claims. Crime scene technicians, forensics experts, and firearms examiners evaluate the evidence and find that Skylar's story isn't adding up.
When your story doesn't make sense and you hear it for the second time and we bring something up, you change the story.
Starting with one of the very first details he gives investigators, that he was watching a movie before going into the office to get Danielle's rifle.
Okay, was there anybody yelling inside before the gunshot happened?
No.
Was the TV up loud? Because there was some, your neighbor.
Yeah, the movie, I was on AMC, I was watching G.I. Jane. That was on loud, and I had that probably on like 40 on the volume. And while that was going, it's probably still playing right now, no, I'm good.
But when crime scene technicians begin photographing the apartment, the movie wasn't on. And the TV wasn't on AMC like Skylar said it would be. It was on Fox News. There's little evidence that Skylar or Danielle spent any time in the living room. There's no food or drink where Skylar says he was eating pizza. No plates, napkins, or cups either. And blankets are folded on one of the couches. The only things out of place appear to be Danielle's wallet and its contents, and a piece of scrap paper with a few names written on it, possibly for Danielle's work. Investigators rely on forensics to learn the truth about what happened to Danielle, and the tests just aren't supporting Skylar's version of events, especially when they consider the way he says he was holding the rifle when it went off.
So I remember how it went off. I hit it on myself.
Mm-hmm. Was your finger on the trigger?
No, I can't remember if it was or not. I don't think it was.
You don't think it was because you don't want it to be, or because in fact?
Probably because I don't want it to be, but it might have been.
Yeah.
It might have been, even though I don't want it to be. I f***ed up.
The trajectory of that round doesn't match up from the entrance to the exit wound. Doesn't add up to what you told us. Okay, so I want to make sure, what it says is it doesn't add up to what you told us. So what I want you to do is make sure you're telling me the right thing. Yeah. If you saw that, you're a gun dude, man. You got gun parts there, you can build an AR.
When that round went off, I thought it was on my thigh. I think it might have even been on my breast or my shoulder. I don't know. I remember that round went off. I know. Don't. When you give me that look, it makes me unsure myself.
We gotta sit there and we gotta make sure. So we've gone through a couple different things. It was on your thigh, it was in your chest, and that might have been on your shoulder, your finger wasn't on the trigger. Yeah. And you and I both know guns don't go off unless your fingers wear.
No, I'm totally, yes.
Right. Yes, something's got to pull that trigger to make that gun go off, right?
Not always. I've heard of them force going off if you hit the stock.
If you hit the stock pretty hard.
I've heard of them going off.
But it has to be something harder than a thigh. It has to be hard ground, concrete, right? It wouldn't just go off from being slammed into your shoulder, right?
I don't know. I mean,
so take a
I told
second.
You about the alcohol I drank.
Just listen to me for a second, okay? I want you to focus on this because when I start talking about something, you want to change the subject, okay? So I want you to think about this, okay? And think really hard. Was the gun on your shoulder and was your finger in the trigger well? Did you pull it up here and you were going like this?
I was not aiming down the sights. I know for.
Well, no, I'm not saying you're aiming it. You know how you hold the gun like this already, right?
Yeah.
Racked around now, right? So I mean, could that have been how you were doing it? Can you remember, or were you doing it down here, or down here?
I think it was on my shoulder.
It was on your shoulder.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I know the magazine was not in the weapon.
The magazine wasn't in the weapon.
Well, there was a bullet in the chamber. That's obvious. And so this is the thing.
Attack me with this.
No, I'm not attacking you, man. I understand that, son, and I'm trying to figure out why.
Between the tidy crime scene and Skylar's changing story, investigators believe he's holding the truth close to the vest.
If you're just really mad and you pointed the gun and you pulled the trigger out of just a fit of passion or rage, that's one thing. But to sit there as a professional soldier and lie to me, that's another thing. That makes you two categories. One guy that had a split second of a stupid mistake or of anger versus a guy that's a calculated murderer. And I want to figure out which one of those you are.
Not a murderer.
Okay, so this is the facts of life, son, is that Skylar, your wife is gone. Now, what I want to try to figure out is if you intentionally shot her in the back of the head, or if it was an accident, or if you were just really pissed off and you were saying, damn it, and you had the gun right there, and you're 5 feet away, and you pull the trigger, and then you go, oh, now what did I do? Mm-hmm. And I want to figure out what happened.
The weapon, I'm almost, okay, I think it was on my middle of my chest or my shoulder. It was up high, okay? My hand, it might have, I don't remember if it was, that's the thing I do not, I think it was most likely it was on the trigger, because that went off.
Were you playing with the gun and you just pulled the magazine out and you go click because you thought it was going to go click and it went bang? Is that the difference? Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah, it went off.
A confession of sorts. While searching for any charges in Washington, we used TruthFinder to run background checks on Skylar Nemetz. On truthfinder.com, we typed in Skylar Nemetz's name, age, and state of residence. In under a minute, our paid subscription service gave us access to several criminal and traffic reports, like those pertaining to his arrests in Washington. We even found information like aliases he might use, possible phone numbers, address history, and traffic records. Unlimited reports with this kind of information and more are available in minutes to anyone with a paid subscription. Law and Crime partners with TruthFinder so our writers and reporters can research cases and reveal real information about suspects like Skylar Nemetz. But despite admitting he pulled the trigger, Skylar still insists that he didn't know there was a bullet in the chamber, a version of the story that might be even less believable than the ones before. Because according to Skylar's own statements, he's been shooting and clearing firearms for roughly 16 years.
So, whatever, I took the round, I had the rifle, I pulled the trigger when I was on fire, and it went off, and it struck my wife in the back of the head, and it killed my wife.
It did. You're exactly right, Skylar.
Why?
Why what?
Why did you have it pointed at her head and pull the trigger?
I don't.
What's the number one firearms rule? All firearms always loaded, right?
I know, and
so what was your thought process for having the gun pointed at her head and pulling the trigger? You said that you intentionally pointed it at her head, and I missed that. In this room, and it's on video, saying that you intentionally pointed the rifle at her head.
I didn't intentionally point at her head. It was in the direction, and I wasn't paying attention to what direction. I knew I was behind her. I knew that she was sitting at the desk, okay? And I knew that, the rifle was pointing that direction. I was not thinking straight, and I just did it out of reaction, just quick, and I grabbed the rifle, cleared it, and grabbed it, bam, went off. And I did not intentionally aim at her head.
Let's stop right there.
Okay.
Bam, it went off. You shouldered the gun, put it to the back of your wife's head, and pulled the trigger, and she died.
On purpose.
Did you not? I don't know why you would. That's why I'm asking you. That's why we're sitting in this interview room. That's why we're talking.
Skylar doesn't tell investigators why he pointed the AR-15 at the back of Danielle's head. Instead, he asks if he can demonstrate how he did it.
The bed was right here. I grabbed the weapon. I picked up the weapon. I went like this. I took the magazine out. I put it on the bed. I put it on fire, and I pulled the trigger. And it went off, and it was on my shoulder. It was on my shoulder, it was on the breast, it was up high. It was around here. I don't know why I thought it was on my thigh, but that was just...
You didn't think it was on your thigh, you thought the story sounded better, Skylar. I'm not a stupid guy, and I don't want to be treated like I'm stupid.
Arguments like this one, where Skylar tries to control the narrative, may not be new to him, according to Danielle's friends and loved ones. On a Facebook page called Justice for Danielle Rippian, Danielle's family and others who knew her alleged that her relationship with Skylar may have been abusive. One group member says early on in the relationship, Skylar would stop Danielle from seeing friends. Another member says she didn't see Skylar act controlling, but she did notice something strange about their apartment. There was no sign that Danielle actually lived there. Gun magazines, alcohol, and 15 firearms had their place in the home. But when it came to things Danielle might have enjoyed, like art or home decor, money was apparently too tight. One of Danielle's co-workers claims Danielle had to ask Skylar for permission to make purchases. But it looks like Skylar was okay with setting money aside for more firearms.
Let me tell you this, Skylar, sit your ass down. This is my house. You put a gun to your shoulder and you pulled a trigger with a gun aimed at the back of your wife's head and you killed her. She's dead. That's a tragedy. That's a tragedy. My biggest concern right now is this is a tragedy by accident or did you intentionally shoot your wife? And that's what we're going to find out. And I'm going to tell you, if I find a letter or anything in there that indicates that she was having an affair, it don't look good. So stop the don't say I initially thought. Don't lie to me, man. I've been doing this job for 25 years. People lie to me every day. I am a human lie detector test. Stop lying.
Investigators know there's more to the story because there's a critical detail Skylar has yet to mention. the aftermath.
Why would you go outside and I have a written statement saying that you went outside and you told your neighbor that she was cleaning a hunting rifle and
I didn't say she was cleaning anything.
two statements, your neighbor. They said it on the scene and they came down here in a room similar to this and said the same thing. Were you trying to cover up from a up?
No, she was not cleaning. She was on her our iMac on Granite, whatever her work that she works with, okay? She was not cleaning anything. I was not cleaning anything. I got her from the couch that I was watching the TV from. I went to go get the weapon. I was gonna unload it and put it in my safe. I took the magazine out. Apparently it was around the chamber, and I did not charge that weapon ever.
The blood near the back door supports the witness's statement, even though Skylar denies it. And a full search of the apartment reveals that the gun wasn't the only physical evidence Skylar may have attempted to hide.
I didn't expect this, but when I got off, when she came pick me up, apparently one of her friends, she asked one of her friends, she got me some alcohol, but I hardly drank any of it. I don't really drink that much at all, like ever. Mm-hmm. And she got me some cinnamon.
The alcohol bottles Danielle got for Skylar's return were found emptied outside the apartment. After Danielle was shot, Skylar dropped them from the apartment balcony.
There's another thing. After the neighbor heard the gunshot go off, they heard the toilet flush twice from your apartment. What were you flushing?
The alcohol I had. She got me that Fireball, and I just was really worried. I don't know why. I was really worried it happened, and
Why were you flushing the alcohol?
What?
Why were you flushing the alcohol?
Because I'm not 21. And I was just really scared.
Your wife was dead with a bullet in the back of her head and you're worried about getting a misdemeanor ticket?
Yeah, no.
Seems like, to me, it seems like a cover-up. You're trying to cover it up. You're trying to make it not look so bad for you, okay? So we finally got it out that the weapon was on your shoulder and that you pulled the trigger, okay? And then you flushed the Fireball?
Yeah, no, that was, yeah, well that, I went and I saw it, I was just so frightened. I didn't want to even touch my wife because I was so scared. I was scared.
She's hurt.
I know. When I went up to her, I didn't touch her though. I went up.
She's hurt, man.
Investigators wonder if that was exactly what Skylar wanted, for Danielle to hurt, especially if he was hurt. Through text messages and interviews, police learned that Danielle had been hanging out with a friend from high school while Skylar was away at training. A friend named Jeremy. Could jealousy have been the motive behind Danielle's death? Text messages between the married couple reveal that Skylar had recently accused Danielle of going on a date with Jeremy. Danielle said that wasn't the case. Investigators believe that Skylar shot Danielle in a fit of jealous rage. A rage that allegedly boiled over with those alcohol bottles Skylar tried to dispose of. Skylar told investigators he never drank. But apparently, that wasn't the case. Skylar wanted alcohol ready for him when he got home from battlefield training. But he wasn't 21 yet, so he asked a friend to purchase it for him. At the last minute, the friend canceled, so Danielle asked Jeremy to buy the bottles. Investigators believe that when Skylar found out it was Jeremy who bought the liquor, he made sure that was the last time Danielle would see him.
You might have been in a fit of rage where you pulled that trigger and you killed her because you were pissed off, but she deserves to know, we deserve to know that answer for her memory. She deserves that. So tell me what the you're pointing a gun at the back of your wife's head for. Tell me why. Don't give me no just man to man, nut up and tell me why.
I was not paying attention where I was pointing the weapon.
You're sitting there thinking that fat is a dumbass and I'm getting over on him.
I have no problem with you guys. I don't understand what you think I do. I really have no problem
because
with you
your
guys.
Story doesn't make sense. There's a huge gap in your story. You're detailed all the way through up until the point where we had to talk to you for 2.5 hours to get you to realize that we're smarter than you think and you shouldered a weapon because the trajectory of that round didn't match up. So immediately you changed the story. That's about the 8th time you've done that.
This tells me somebody that acted out of rage and out of anger. You acted out of rage and out of anger. You shot your wife in the back of the head. And then after you did it, you realized what you did and realized, oh my God, this is permanent. How stupid was I to do this? Now what am I going to do to cover this up? What can I come up with? That's what this tells me.
A firearm forensics examiner performs a drop test on the AR-15 rifle used to shoot Danielle and finds that it is in perfect working condition. A trigger pull analysis also finds that the gun works as the manufacturer intended, meaning it would not have gone off without someone pulling the trigger.
I never.
The firearm examination, the physical evidence at the scene, and Skylar's admission that he did pull the trigger led Tacoma detectives to charge 20-year-old Skylar Nemetz with first-degree murder. Nemetz's mom, Danette Heller, who loudly and publicly proclaims her son's innocence, hires a powerful legal team to represent Skylar. Heller drains her savings and borrows enough money for Skylar to post bail on October 31st, 2014. In January 2016, Skylar's trial begins. 16 days into the trial, on February 11th, Skylar takes the stand.
Did you see the gunshot wound?
I saw the gunshot wound.
Where did you see it?
I saw it on the back of her head.
Did you know she was dead?
Yeah, I knew she was dead.
A year and a half after Danielle's death, the prosecution questions him about his conflicting stories and details he omitted. Skylar appears unemotional.
You talked about how the weapon went off because you slammed it on your thigh. Remember that?
Yes, as I was explaining this to the...
Do you remember that, Mr. Nemetz?
I remember saying that, yes, sir.
Okay, you did say that, correct?
I know I said that by viewing my video, yes, sir.
After that, you went through the rest of what happened, but you never said anything in that initial accounting, that open-ended question of what happened, about going to get those bottles, correct?
Yeah, not that I remember, sir.
But that doesn't mean the jury will find him guilty. On March 3rd, the judge reads the verdict. Skylar Nemetz is found not guilty of first-degree murder. Instead, the jury finds him guilty of the lesser included offense of first-degree manslaughter in the shooting death of Danielle. Skylar is sentenced to 8.5 years for the killing of Danielle and an additional 5 years for the use of a firearm to commit the crime. In total, Skylar Nemetz will serve 13.5 years in confinement. In 2018, Skylar filed an appeal, stating that there was insufficient evidence to prove that he was in fact armed. He also requests to receive credit for time already served. In 2020, Skylar filed a second appeal, stating that the court failed to consider his youth at the time of his sentencing. Skylar was 20 years old when he was convicted of manslaughter. The state of Washington denies both appeals, but grants Skylar credit for time served. Skylar Nemetz is now 31 years old, serving time at Coyote Ridge Correction Center. His earliest possible release date is in 2028. He'll be 34 years old. For Law&Crime Investigates, I'm Kristin Thorne.